Hello and welcome to the first of this year's candidate debates for the RGUSU student elections. We're streaming live on Instagram at RGU Union, here from the Riverside building on our Garthdee campus. A huge thank you to everyone who's tuned in online and to everyone who has joined us in the room for today's event. My name is Ross Leven. I'm the Student Experience and Partnership Manager here at the university, and I'm also a former student president, and I'm delighted to have been asked to host today's event as well. So, over to this year's elections. Well, this year there are 4 roles being contested. We have 3 student president roles and some student parliament roles as well. Voting takes place next week between Tuesday and Thursday on campus and online. But this week is all about you finding everything you need to know about our candidates. And today we'll start with the candidates for the role of President of Sport and Physical Activity. And it's your chance this week to find out who they are, why they're running for these roles, and if you do elect them, what they plan to do in their year in the role. There's a number of these events going on throughout the week, and we'll start off today with the 4 candidates that we have here. We'll start by hearing directly from each candidate. They'll have a chance to outline who they are and their manifesto, and it's also a chance for them to tell you what they want to achieve in their role and why they think you should vote for them. There'll then be a chance for us to ask them some questions and for everyone in the room and online to ask questions as well. So if you are watching online, please do comment any questions, and our team here will do their best to read them out. And if you are in the room, please put your hand up and the team will come round to you as well. So, to introduce our candidates, we have 4 candidates with us here today. We have all the candidates running for the role. We have Joe, we have Ochi, we have Ikra, and we also have Davidson. And each candidate will now have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and they'll be called in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Ikra.
Hi everyone. This is Ikra Zulfikar, and I'm running for sports and physical activity. My basic aim is to strengthen the sports club, because in the recent AGM, all the students saw that the students of sports clubs, they are facing a lot of problems and some difficulties. So my main aim will be helping sports club, and the other thing is to strengthening the communication between sports clubs and union as well, because there is a huge gap that was clearly visible during the AGM. So I would be really focused on both of these things, because I know that sports is an important factor of the students' well-being, but most of the students, they are not well aware from all the facilities that sports the RGU and the sports are being given to the students. So I will make sure all the students who are in the RGU, they can access all the facilities that are available here in sports as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And next over to you, Joe, if you could pass the mic along.
So, hi, I'm Joe. I'm a 4th year sports science student and also the vice president of the men's rugby club. In terms of for my manifest, the 3 kind of main points is that I want, I'll hope to achieve better support for kind of clubs and committees. So I want to try and improve kind of communication and guidance between the union, clubs and sport. In terms of things like fundraising and coaching opportunities, to obviously try and help make it easier for clubs to run on a day-to-day basis. The second point is that I would like to make sport more accessible for every single student. So sport and physical activity should be available for every student at RGU, regardless of if they're part of the BUCS competitive leagues or not. So want to try and help support the growth of recreational sport, and also increase kind of participation and beginner-friendly sessions across all the sports clubs that we have here at RGU, and also increase accessibility, which will hopefully increase things like well-being, kind of belonging and participation for the student cohort. Lastly, I'd like to try and improve or have a stronger RGU sporting community. So I feel that RGU is at its strongest when clubs feel supported and connected. So I will try and encourage collaboration between clubs to help try and build a positive kind of atmosphere and sporting culture, which will benefit obviously both clubs from Bucks and a recreational point of view, and also that a stronger community will obviously improve everyone's experience at RGU, and I feel that sport is a big part of that.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Oshie next.
Good morning. My name is Oche Ochete, and I'm a social work student, and I'm studying social work masters. I have 3 priority aims if I become sports president. Firstly, my first priority is to ensure that we have high inclusiveness among RGU students. And how do I do this? I noticed the most neglected part of RGU students are students at Grey School of Art, and I came up with an initiative whereby they get to design the RGU sporting facilities, and they also get to participate in designing the merch. In this way, we increase students' participation, and we also help them to understand that sport is not always about physical activities, but how they could also add their input of creative abilities into the sporting center. Secondly, one of my priorities is to help increase mental health awareness through sports. As a social work student, I have already studied and understood that sport is always linked to mental health, and good sports activities could also help to increase mental health. And by helping to create this awareness and to help students involve and participate in sport, I aim at positively impacting on students' mental health well-being. Thirdly, I noticed there is a very low tournament and low competition among RGU sports club. And this is a very important factor to why there is low engagement among students in sport activities. I looked at the previous numbers of students who joined at 2024 and 2025, and they were not up to 10% of the students who were previously there. And
That's you. Your 2 minutes now. Thank you very much. And we'll hand over to Davidson.
Hello everyone, my name is Prince Davidson Obiara Onyangona. I am the current president of Sports and Physical Activity, and I have the intention of running, and I wish you guys would vote for me based on these, my manifestos. First of all, having been in this role for the past 10 months, I have been able to witness firsthand the challenges and the intricacies of running the sports clubs and making sure everything runs in order. So I have outlined these 3 points in the coming election as my priority aims. First of all, I want to continue to work on broadening the accessibility options for students, especially the disabled students and those from minority backgrounds, so that everyone, regardless of your background or ability, would have a chance to participate in sport in RGU. Secondly, I want to expand on the career development that we're already working on through STEP, which is to give students the opportunity to be trained as professional umpires and referees, so that even while they graduate, they could still earn from that. My third priority aim is to encourage innovation within RGU sports. Last year, I campaigned on bringing on 3G pitch at least to ensure that we play games in school. But this year, I am working on innovations with what we have already to make sure that we still do these things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you could pass the microphone along. And we'll start with the first question. So how we're going to do this is we've got a couple of questions, general questions about the role to begin with. Each of you will have a minute to answer them, and then there'll be a chance for some discussion after that as well. So we'll start with you, Chris. So what do you think is the biggest issue facing sports clubs right now? And if you were in the role, what would your plan be to support them to overcome this?
According to my ME, the biggest issue is currently the coordination among the students, among the sports clubs. The sports clubs are facing a lot of problems relating to logistics and management, so they can be resolved by communicating with the union, because as a member of the union we can accommodate the clubs and the students in all their problems, and if we can directly and clearly communicate with the students, ask for the regular follow-ups, so I'm sure we can solve the problems. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. If you pass along now. Cheers. Same question to you.
What was the question, sorry?
Sorry, no, absolutely. So what is the biggest issue facing sports clubs right now? And if you were elected, how would you go about supporting clubs to overcome these?
I think the main issue, or at least from my experience being in a sports club, is that a lot of the time it comes back to the cost of living crisis, which obviously isn't specifically just a sports club issue. It's kind of obviously more of a wider issue within society. But in terms of, from what I've spoken to, from people that I've spoken to, it's more kind of looking at things like fundraising and obviously trying to increase the opportunities for clubs to actually fundraise so that they can meet their targets, so that they don't really have to worry about the kind of the economic point of view, which is obviously quite a big burden for a lot of people these days. So yeah, I'd say that the main issue would be cost of living, and to go about that would be fundraising and kind of getting the word out about kind of the benefits of sport and joining a sports club and paying the membership fee, so that obviously there's a little bit more cash in the pot, so to speak.
Thank you very much. And same question to you now.
I think the biggest issue for students in RG is participation in sports club, and this is basically a systemic issue whereby the ability to join a sports club is difficult, and people think that you have to be a professional to be among a sports club, and there's lack of awareness among students about the sports clubs and how they can positively impact students. So by joining, by becoming the president, I would help to increase participation, increase brand awareness about sports club, and help students to join and make it much more easier for them.
And how would you do that?
Basically by, there is a tuition plan whereby you have to pay a certain fee to join the sports club. So how about we add this fee to the tuition to make it more easier, or come up to a student-friendly plan to make it more easier for them to pay by dividing it into 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And same question to you, Davidson.
All right, thank you very much. One of the biggest problems I think is facing the sports clubs is shortage of staff, and the issue of payment to become a club member. On the shortage of staff, we have found it difficult to manage the tax in coordinating and managing the clubs, and because of our growing number, this has proved to be difficult at the time. That most times there are some issues that would slip through the emails and maybe will not be easily followed up. And I've decided that if I win this election, I would work with the union to see that at least we get someone to be able to support the sports president, and these problems could be addressed properly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You've all had a chance to answer the question now. We've had very different answers, from engagement to cost of living to staff support. But does anyone else have any points you'd like to raise based on other candidates' answers, or any questions for each other at this point? No? Okay, we'll move on to the next question then. So we'll start with you, Davidson, on this time, and we'll work our way along. So we understand that not everyone has the budget or the time to commit to a sports club membership. And in that case, what steps would you take to ensure that all students at the university have a chance to take part in sport, whether competitive or not, while they are a student at the university?
Thank you very much for that question. I think one of my fellow candidates mentioned that we already have instrumental plans in place for students who are struggling to pay their fees. So you mustn't pay all the fees at once. That's already in place. And also we have extended by a large margin the payment membership deadline. So we understand that students face these challenges and we want them to participate. So we have these plans in place to make sure that everyone could come in. And even this year, we have a lot of extenuating circumstances of students saying because of financial struggle, they can't pay and they want us to give them instrumental plan. We approve that. So that's already in place, and that is what we plan to keep doing to make sure that everyone is welcomed.
But for students that can't pay or don't have the time to invest or the money to invest, how would you give them an opportunity for them to continue to engage in sport and take part in sport at the university, whether competitive or not?
Okay, so we usually, at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year as well, we organize sections that are free. For instance, during the Movember event, last November, we organized a free sports day, and we booked out the whole hall, and people came in and played different sports. And that is what we plan to do as time goes on, to make sure that people can come in from time to time to be able to play these sports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And same question to you.
Can you please repeat the question?
Absolutely. So we understand that not all students will have the budget or the time to invest in Emma Sports Club membership. So for those that can't, how would you take forward work to allow them to engage in sport and take part in sport, whether that's competitive or not?
Well, the question is so close to me as well, because I personally face the same problem. And to solve this issue, I'm thinking that we can do some fundraising for the students who cannot afford the membership fee. We can ask some of the students to do the volunteer for the fundraising, and then with the funds we can accommodate those students. And we already have some free sports follow-ups that students can come and if they can play better, they can join the club. So I think that we can increase those tournaments where the students can play better. They can join the clubs. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you ask the question again?
Absolutely. So we understand that not all students have the budget or time to take part in sports clubs and to join sports clubs. So how would you, as sport president, take the opportunity to ensure that students who aren't able to do that can still participate in sport while they're here at the university?
I feel like this is a pain point for a large number of students. And because it's a pain point for a large number of students, just like we have in the union organizing breakfast club and supper club for students, we should have a week whereby a day is actually free for students to actually try out different range of sporting activities. And this could give them a chance to actually get their interest, to know what they really want to join, and also get them to give a chance to give them an interest and as an experience to join a sports club.
So the majority of sports clubs would already do this, if not all of them, at the start of the year?
Not weekly.
You say every week sports
Yeah.
clubs would give people a chance?
Yes.
Every week throughout the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Joe?
I think the main thing would be to try and get across to the whole student cohort is the benefits of physical activity and sport. So obviously RGU sport, the membership is free to use the gym. So really trying to kind of push the idea of kind of get into the gym. Because obviously, as I kind of touched on in my manifesto, in terms of kind of for the well-being side of things, I think that would be kind of the main point. If financially that was the issue, because unfortunately, like speaking from a sports club point of view, there's not really much that we can do in terms of the amount of money that it is for the sports club membership, because of course that number is based on how many members are in the club, so that obviously we can kind of travel for away fixtures, etc., etc. So in terms of from a money point of view, it's a little bit of a tough one, but in terms of time, it's really trying to push the the benefit of kind of sport and physical activity and using the free opportunities like maybe booking out the hall or the gym pass.
That's great. Thank you very much. And does anyone have any other comments or thoughts they wanted to share?
I have
at
a
this point?
question. You said the gym is free, and I was just wondering, for members or students who are just beginners to the gym, how do they get to access this without getting to injure themselves?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Like for students who are actually new to the gym and have never used the gym is free, but there are actually no free trainings for students who are actually new. So how do you think that can help students?
I don't understand the question.
Is your question around sports clubs or around
No,
gym?
you made mention of
The gym's free.
about free membership for the gym. Yeah,
If you're a beginner.
yeah. But if you're a beginner,
Yeah.
how do you think it's possible to for a beginner to actually have access to this without getting to injure themselves, without having any experience about working out in the gym and stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, because the trainings are not free.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in that instance, obviously, that comes down to the student taking a bit of initiative on himself, because obviously we're all at uni, so nothing's going to be handed to us. So it's about him going up to maybe somebody else in the gym and maybe asking him for some tips or advice so that he doesn't injure himself or something like that. Because, yeah.
And put the same question back to you then. How
Yeah.
would you go about this?
In my opinion, I feel like in the student union student union area and also in Wood Building, we have student volunteering, and they also get awards for volunteering as student volunteers, as student ambassadors. I feel like if we can implement same thing in the gym, we could have students who could volunteer and have experience in training, and they could also get recognition for volunteering as students. And this is part of the initiative as students we could come up with, and also give them their credit for volunteering to help students in the gym. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much. And over to you, Davison.
I have to point out two things. First of all, the gym is not directly owned by the union, and we don't manage that. So that's the first correction. And secondly, the management of the RGU Sports has been magnanimous enough to keep the students free gym, and also there is a free training given to every student that sign up the first day you come to the gym. If you register in the gym, there's a point where you get to, and they will ask you, would you want to get a guide for your first time in the gym? So that covers you, tells you, they get you to all the machines and the equipment and tell you how to use them, what they are for, and you get to know the basics for the first day, and that is free. So what you're talking about is already there. If you're looking for a trainer, then you get one for yourself, because it's a separate entity. Thank you.
Okay. Ikra, do you have anything to add at this point? Okay. Any other points from anyone? Yeah, one last point.
If you're saying we should get a trainer, we're talking about the cost of living here. And you're saying students who haven't had enough money for rent should hire a trainer for their gym training. Then how does it make sense to you?
Well, I like being realistic. Having been the president, I can count over 10 universities in Scotland that don't have free gym membership for their students. That's number one. RGU is one of the few universities that offer free gym membership. And like I said before, it's a separate entity from the union. What I advocated initially when I came in was to have a free workout space that the union could use, and then we could talk of getting free trainers that are student volunteers and all. Just like we have the pool, we have the table tennis there, and we have, I think there are other free spaces down there with the pool, a pool table, and these are all free spaces that the union owns. So for us to start implementing that, we need to own our own first as the union. But now we don't own it, so I would suggest it's a good plan, but it should be a long-term plan.
Okay, thank you very much. And to Oisin again, we've had a comment online back to the point you made earlier, I believe, which was, I think the point you were saying was that all sports clubs should offer free sessions to students every week. Given that the sports clubs only train once a week on average and have lots of other commitments, including their own studies, including their competitions and everything like that, how would this be possible, and how would you support them to do that? Is it on?
Okay. I feel like there's lack of awareness on the sporting activities and the sports club, and students on daily basis never gets to receive emails about sports activities, but we get to receive emails from the student union about other activities, you know, and creating an awareness about this training being available for students could actually be a positive drive towards changing things and helping students.
I'm sorry, that wasn't quite the question. The question was, your proposal is, in addition to sports club membership, you would have all sports clubs give free sessions to students each week. How would you do that, given that they only train once a week and they have competitions and all the other things, and at the end of the day they are run by students?
Like I said earlier on, this is a systemic problem, and it's not my fault that they have only one time to train a week, which is very poor. And you consider them as sports club, but they only have to train once, and you know they have to go for competitions, and this is why most time we get beaten by most other clubs outside the school, you know. And we should also push for drive for more training sessions for the sports club, because it makes more sense, you know.
Okay, so if you were elected,
Yes.
you would be pushing for more training sessions in addition to free sessions each week for students? Okay.
Yes.
Any other comments from the table? Davison? We'll have this as the last one and then we'll move on.
I would like to correct the first impression. We have currently the least clubs train twice a week, and most of them play twice a week as well. For instance, the football, they train Mondays and Wednesdays, and they have league games Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. So that takes 4 days out of the week. And mind you, these are still students. Some clubs train 3 times a week, and they still do their student work and still do every other thing. So realistically, we've gotten the amount of training times that is sufficient for the clubs. So what I would say, even though we know that some students don't have this money to come in to pay, and facility is also a problem, but we could look at using what we have, and then look at the long term, we will look at what we can get to make sure that we have these facilities. Because when you get these students, another issue is the facility issue. So it's a whole lot of things to consider, not just about saying get these trainings on, but you have to consider the time, you have to consider the facility, you have to consider the money involved as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go back to Oisin now for the first of your questions, which is specifically about your manifesto. So across your manifesto, you and the 3 priority aims, you reference RGU Sport, you reference the gym, and lots of things you'd like to do there.
Yes.
But there's not any mention of sports clubs and the issues they're facing and how you would support them. So given that we have over 1,000 students involved in sports clubs and that number is increasing every year, what would you actually do to support sports clubs if you were elected?
So basically, this leads back to an issue of inclusion. We have 1,000 students, over 1,000 students who are in the sports club, but we have over 15,000 students in RGU, which is less than the student in the sports club, which is 10% less than the student we have in RGU. And I have an idea. How about we get more students to join the sports club, get more funding from students who actually participate and who actually join the sports club. And in this way, we could run the sports better. And for the sports club, I was at the AGM meeting and a lot of students complained about fixtures and bookings and all that. And I noticed that this is a systemic leadership issue whereby the president, who is the current sitting president, is not in good communication with most of the president of the other club, the sports club, whereby they don't relate the problem. So I feel like having a union forum whereby students who are president of sports club could meet with the president and tell the issue, and things could be sorted out better.
Okay, so a couple of follow-up questions there. You've talked about a forum where sports clubs presidents can speak to the president.
Yes.
There's obviously the sports forum, which is probably the forum for that. In terms of your earlier point around when I asked what you would do to support sports clubs, you said you would increase membership and you'd increase
Yes.
the money they get.
Yes.
How would you do
I didn't
either
say
of those
I didn't
things?
say I would increase membership.
Okay, sorry.
I said I would increase the number of students who join sports club and make it much more easier for them to join.
Sorry, by membership I meant
Yeah,
the number of
okay,
students
okay,
who are
yeah,
members.
yeah.
How would you do that?
Now, by creating brand awareness through emails, through social media, and all other resources we have, we could actually increase awareness for students to join the sports club, and also increasing the amount of free training sessions students could get, coming up with a better instrumental plans for students to actually pay for sports membership fee. This could actually increase the number of students, because I feel like the sports club are more focused on money-oriented rather than student-oriented. So if we change the drive and change it to being student-oriented, things could get much better, and we could double the number of students who gets to join the sports club.
Okay, thanks
Yes.
very much. Does anyone else have any comments or questions before we move on to the next question? No? Okay, did you say you do? Yeah? Davidson would like to speak briefly? Just 30 seconds or so, Davidson.
All right, thank you very much. I want to point out something he mentioned about getting more students. Like I said before, for instance, when this year we had issue with booking facilities, extra facilities for football. Now we have 4 football teams, 3 men and 1 female. Now that means we have to book extra facilities for them, and that's more money, and that's more burden on the trainers and stuff. So the idea is, it's not bad to say we want more students, but my idea is to, first of all, make the ground level, provide the necessary environment, the enabling environment upon which we can build on getting more students in.
Okay, thank you very much. Just one other question online for you, Oshie, as well. So the question is that achieving the manifesto point you've raised there and improving sports club sign-ups would fall under the responsibility of each individual sports club, which would increase the workload of the busy students who are already running these clubs. So how would you support these students with all the additional workload that would result in?
So basically, we have students who actually come out who are passionate about whatever sports they're doing. And I feel like this is all for the good and for the benefit of every student. And it shouldn't seem like a workload, but an achieving point whereby RGU Sports is being more inclusive and helping much more students. Like I can tell you, 1 out of 10 students are in the sports club, you know. And this is a very, very difficult problem, because most students are not even aware that there are sports club. You know, I had some student asking me from Pakistan, asking me about cricket clubs, and I told them that, you know, this sports club are actually there, but they don't know about it, you know. But creating awareness about them could actually lead to more students joining, and it shouldn't seem like a workload, but much of a passion.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. And we'll go to Ikra next for your question. So you're just this side.
Okay.
So your priority talks about identifying operational gaps for sports clubs. Sports clubs tell the union that some of the things they want is solutions to problems dealt with quicker. They want better communication, all of these types of things. So how would you ensure that the union can act immediately to deal with any issues that come up from sports clubs?
I think that directly students, the presidents of the sports clubs, they can directly communicate, they can ask and send an email, or they can access to the president, of sports president, about the problem, because mostly what the recent, according to the recent AGM, it was clearly mentioned that the coordination and the emails, there are no regularly follow-ups, they are not replied on the time. So with better communication with the presidents, with meetings, and with the forums, like on weekly we can access the students and the presidents of the clubs. We can ask them to come on a weekly basis, tell their problems, or just they can directly send the emails on daily basis as well.
Thank you very much. So that obviously gives them more of an opportunity to provide feedback, to come back to you with questions. But how would you ensure that when they do come to you with issues or problems that is dealt with?
Sorry?
How would you ensure that if sports clubs do come to you, as if you were to be student president, with issues or problems that they're facing, how would you ensure that those are dealt with quickly? Dealt with quickly.
Yeah, we will surely make sure. We will make sure that everything is doing with the proper planning and on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Davidson, we'll come to you next. So on the manifesto, we ask what is the biggest issue that you think is facing RG students at the moment, and how will you work with the rest of your student presidents' teams to tackle this? In your answer, you identified a sports club issue in terms of the support that the student president gets and the coordination of a lot of the work of the sports clubs. If you think that is the biggest issue facing students, why is that not one of your priority aims in your manifesto? And what do you actually think is the biggest issue facing students at the university? All students. Thank you.
All right. It's not one of the priority aims because realistically, I wanted to focus on what will help us get to that biggest issue. Those 3 priority aims will build up to helping the sports clubs. Now, on the general RGU student, one of the biggest issues facing students is still the issue of finance. Presently, globally, we have a lot of financial issues, financial crisis, and that directly or indirectly impacts students. Like one of my the candidates mentioned about fundraising. As a sports club members, you don't just pay your membership fee, you also have to plan for fundraising, which you are part of. That means you have to chip in some quids to make sure you get to the fundraising target. So this is, some students find it difficult to get to that target. Okay. That's a problem.
Thank you very much there. Does anyone else have any thoughts or comments on what Davidson's just said? No? Okay. We'll go along to Jonah. Okay, thank you very much. So, in your manifesto and priority aims, you've identified several key areas you'd like to achieve during your year in the role. Given the daily demands of the role and the level of support that clubs need throughout the year, how would you work to ensure that you can balance all these things and ensure that the clubs get the support that they need?
I think that kind of comes down to just being honest and kind of communicating with them, and also kind of speaking as well to the 2 other presidents and having those clear lines of communications to try and be able to, so that your workload isn't kind of getting on at you, that you can, that you're able to communicate with them so that you can kind of share that, so to speak. But, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And if we go to back to you, Davidson, we've got a question online that's come in from you. So a student's commented to say that at the recent AGM there was quite a large discussion about sports clubs and the support that they got from you in particular and from the union. And the comment that's been shared is at the AGM you admitted that you had felt maybe slightly underprepared and inexperienced for the role. So the question is, why have you chosen to rerun for the role if that is the case?
All right. Thank you for that question. First of all, like I said, at the AGM, the role descriptor that I read before I decided to run didn't prepare me for the role properly. Now, if you remember also, the chief executive officer said that will be amended to make sure that people running the role will know what they're up against. So when I got in the role, I felt like I have the experience, but I wasn't prepared for that. And actually, nothing prepares you for that role because you are doing institute admin and the job of the student union president for sports. Now, having been in that role for the past 10 months, I've been able to juggle it. I've been able to, I came in unprepared quite correctly, that's a fact. But now I felt like I am more prepared, I've got the experience, and I could do it even better now that I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And before we move on to some more general questions for you all, does anyone have any comments or questions they want to put to fellow candidates? Yeah, on you go.
But Davison, if you say you have much better experience, much recently, the complaint came much recently, and it seems like students are not satisfied with what you're doing, and it seems like you fail to book the fixtures, you fail to do the buses, you fail to do some very, very important things, and a lot of students from different clubs, different societies have complained across the school, university. And I was just wondering, why did you still choose to run again if that's the case?
Thank you very much. First of all, I don't book fixtures. The fixtures are already booked on box. You only manage what is already booked, and if there is a clash, you reschedule. And then second of all, these issues didn't happen this year. There's no fixture that supposed to go on that didn't go on this year. So there were issues that happened from last year. And then also, I wanted to also point out something. It's not every issue that happened in the sport club that is directly the fault of the president, or my fault in this case. But because you are the leader, you are supposed to bear the responsibility of that. You can't say, oh, that's not my fault, this person's supposed to do that. I didn't do that. So I took that blame, even though I know it wasn't directly my fault. For instance, the bus didn't turn up to pick them after the games, but the bus was booked. But I get blamed. So I wouldn't say, oh, no, that's not my fault. No, I took it as my fault. I took the responsibility because I am the president, and it's my job to make sure they go to games and come back as scheduled. Thank you.
Thank you. So is there anything that you would do differently next year if you were to be re-elected to the role from your year that you've had already?
Yes, definitely. I already started doing that. So every Monday we put out the bus schedules and make sure things are in order. But when I came in, it was difficult trying to manage all these things because I didn't know how to best manage them. But now, having been in the role for the past 10 months, I have worked out the mechanism with the assistance of the sports club staff and the union as well. We have worked out mechanisms that would help us keep these timelines, and these timelines will help us manage these bookings and the expectations, and also help us meet with every deadline. So now there is a lot of mechanisms in place to help me achieve that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. So if you could pass the microphone along to the end, and we'll start with Joe for the next question. So RGU sports clubs contain very strong membership numbers from undergraduate students and students who come from the UK. But what would you do to boost membership numbers among our postgraduate student community and from students who come from out with the UK, and increase the number of those students who are able to participate in sport?
I think it's just about, kind of as I highlighted in other questions, just about kind of getting across the benefits of sport and physical activity to them. Obviously, I understand that in the two other president roles, pretty much every single candidate is part of the international community. So that would help if one of them got elected, that if I was elected, being able to work with them and they would be obviously work together to try and gain as many people as possible to try and highlight, as I said, the benefits of sport and physical activity. And then, yeah, it's just maybe sending out emails or putting up things on posters about just the benefits of joining a sports club or just being physically active for, well, everything, psychologically, physically, mentally, kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you very much. And the same question to you, Rashi?
Can you ask a question again?
Yes, I can. So RGU sports clubs have strong membership from undergraduate students and students who come from the UK. So how would you work to increase membership and engagement within our postgraduate student community and for students who come from out with the UK as well?
Okay, thank you very much. As we all know, majority of the students who don't join RG sports clubs are international students, and there's a big hedge of barrier for them, which is the finance aspect for them, and they feel like it's a bit expensive. So, like I said earlier on, coming up with an easy payment plan for them to join the sports club and creating brand awareness about RGU Sports in a much better way, in a much publicized way, would prompt people to join RGU Sports Club and make it much easier for them to join. I feel like this is the best way to do it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. And the same question to you.
Okay, so for the international students, we can actually arrange some of the free tournaments where the international students can come and join for the awareness and for the enjoyment. They can play as well, and when they get their interest get increased, we can ask them for the membership. And as well, we can give them a bit of relaxation in the membership fee. But the basic thing is awareness, because all the international students, most of them, they do not know what is actually happening in sports club. They just see there's a gym and a swimming pool. But I will make sure that all the students who are the international students, they are well aware from all the facilities, from all the clubs. Most of them, they do not know that how many clubs we have in sports. So the awareness that is necessary, and I will make sure to spread the awareness about the sports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Davidson, same question to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I don't think awareness is the biggest issue why students, especially international students, don't join. The biggest issue will be the finance issue. And before I came in, I experienced the same problem. By the time I was financially able to buy membership, I was told that membership is the deadline has gone, and I couldn't get the membership. So that's why during my time, I decided, with the help of the sports clubs, the RGU sports staff and the union, we decided to relax the deadline a little bit, so that students can still get the membership even when it's long gone. But we make sure that we explain to them that they wouldn't be getting everything that they should have got if they registered on time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And another couple of questions that have come in for you, Davidson, from online. So we've had some questions from a couple of sports clubs, so from volleyball, from women's rugby, who have talked about one of the points you made earlier, that there was no matches that were unplayable, that didn't go ahead. They've both talked about 2 or 3 fixtures that weren't able to go ahead. One because there was insufficient hall booking, they hadn't been booked, the hall hadn't been booked on time, and also from women's rugby, there was incorrect transport bookings and they didn't go ahead properly. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to answer those points that were raised.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, like I said, as the president, you don't point fingers when things go wrong. You take that responsibility and you kind of face it head on. The volleyball, I don't book halls. I don't book, I'm not in charge of booking the halls. The person, there's a staff in the RG Sports that books the hall. What I do is every week I check for the next week if the hall is booked. And then that was the issue. So because I didn't book the hall, I thought the person that booked the hall would have known that this is basketball and it requires 2.5 hours. And then for the hockey game, the transport was booked, and then a day before the travel, the transport company wrote an email around 2 p.m. saying that the driver is sick and they had to merge 2 buses. That's the hockey one and one of other clubs. That was why it was affected, and the club thought they can't travel with the other club because of time factor. Okay. So that wasn't my fault, but I wouldn't say it's not my fault because I'm the president, so I took the responsibility.
Okay, but you're saying now it's not your fault, is that correct?
Yes, it's
Okay.
actually not my fault. It's
Okay.
the company, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to pass the microphone along to the very end, and we'll go into one of the last questions that we've got online. So I wonder if you could each take 30 seconds just to briefly highlight what experience you've had in sports clubs and in competitive sport as well.
So since my time at uni, I've been 5 years part of the RGU Men's Rugby Club, 4 years of which were on the committee, 2 years as health and wellbeing, 1 year as vice captain, and this year as vice president. So speaking to a lecturer and a member of staff who also kind of have had the similar approach to me in that they've been part of a sports club and then ran for sports pres and got it, they said that it was incredibly beneficial to be part of a sports club to run for the role. So that's ultimately why I'm putting myself forward for said role.
Thank you very much.
Basically, I'm a very frequent gym user, and also I participate in the outdoor table tennis event, although I'm not part of the sports club. And previously I'd worked with different students from outside the country while I was out of the country, helping a basketball team in their legal team. And also this has an impact on my leadership skills, and also being a compassionate leader who has learned from social work and understand that issues are not just on the surface but a systemic problem. And if we can deal with things through the root issue, a lot of things would be much better and much more accessible for every RGU student. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I've been a competitive badminton player, and I coached badminton for 2 years after my college, and even I won my tournament during my undergrad. So I have experience in leadership and motivation and engagement, student engagement as well. I know the problems, the mental problems of the players. I know all the dissatisfactions of the students. So I think I can cope up with these abilities through my experience as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Davidson?
Thank you. Before coming to RGU, I played a local league at a club while studying in China. And now at RGU, having been opportunity to be the president of sports for this past 10 months, I believe I have gotten loads of experience and preparedness that would help me to deliver properly in this role. And that's why I put myself forward to run again.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions from in the room? No? Okay, we'll move on to the last question that I have, unless any more come in online. And this time we'll start with Ikras. So how will you ensure that every student, whether they're involved in sport or not, are aware of the annual events such as the Granite City Challenge and the boat race?
With the accurate campaigns, by running the campaigns, we can make aware all the students who are in the university and who are in the sports about everything. Because what the main thing is, except finance, awareness is a biggest issue in the university, because most of the students, they just come to attend their classes and go back. They don't know about the sports. So with the campaigns and with some free tournaments for the students where they can come and enjoy, we can make awareness as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
On my manifesto, my third point was inter-school competition and inter-school tournament. And my main reason for this was to use this as a tool to increase awareness among campuses, among students, among every section of RG building down to Gray School of Art. And by doing this and increasing inter-school competition, inter-class competition, it creates more brand awareness about school sports programs. And this is actually tailored to help students to participate more in sports activities and understand and make them understand that there are other things that are more entailed in the sports club rather than only the gym and swimming facility. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Joe?
What was the one other question again?
So it's how would you ensure that all students, whether they're involved in sport or not, are aware of the kind of key annual events like Granite City Challenge and the boat race?
Yeah, so kind of as I've alluded to on my manifesto, I think that's obviously it comes down to communication. So obviously from the union, getting the emails out to obviously, and everyone's part of the union. Everyone's part of the union at uni. So it's just making sure that they're aware and making sure that there's clear lines of communication about what, like, that the Granite City and the boat race is happening. And also, again, further, as I've said before, just about the benefits of kind of getting involved and the benefits of kind of physical activity and sport for someone's time at university.
Thank you very much. And last to you, Davidson.
Thank you very much. There are a couple of things that that we already started doing, and some of them are plans to be implemented. So usually we rely on emails. So that is primarily one of the most efficient way of communicating. But again, the union has what's on every week. So I will use that as well to popularize that. And then also currently I am working on a project using the school screens to get information out to the students, to the wider student community, and we have gotten approval for that. So I will use that as well to make sure every student gets this information on the school screens.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're very close to the end now, just a few minutes left. So one last very quick question that's come in online for you all. And if you just stick to about 30 seconds each to answer this. A big part of the role is, as we talked about, is sports club admin. It's ensuring fixtures that are organised are able to be played, that travel's booked, that spaces is booked. How would you ensure that that takes place if you were to be elected into the role? And again, just 30 seconds each.
Thank you. If I'm elected in the role, like I said, these are issues that nothing actually prepares you for. But I have been in the role, I have had the shocks, if you would like, and I am now better prepared to face it because I've put in place mechanism that helps me manage and make sure that this administrative role is properly handled and managed within time.
Okay, thank you very much.
As my colleague, he mentioned that he checked the things on a weekly basis. So if I get elected, I will make sure that instead of week, we can check on daily basis or even after 2 days, because checking on daily basis or communicating on daily basis, they can make sure that everything is delivered on time. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Well, being an experienced leader, I understand that any leadership position comes with, every leadership position comes with the ability of meeting unexpected challenges. And this boils down to time management, communication skills, being able to be there and being steadfast and consistent. With all this trait of mind, I would ensure that all these bookings and fixtures and all these problems are resolved and able to communicate well with sports leaders.
Okay, thank you very much. And you, Joe?
What was just the one other question again, sorry?
So a big part of the role is obviously the kind of admin of sports fixtures. It's making sure that transport is booked, that spaces are booked. So how would you ensure that if you are elected, you do that well?
I think just through my experience with being on the committee for 4 years and just kind of how the rugby club works is that we all basically bounce ideas off one another. So in terms of from an admin point of view, basically been doing that for the last 4 years. In terms of what Davidson said in terms of that nothing can actually prepare you for the role. I've spoken to 2 people who have sat in the same seat as him and done the exact same role, that were part of a sports club and were presidents, vice presidents, that said that it was a very smooth transition into the role. So,
okay, that's great. Thank you very much. So a huge thank you to all of our candidates and a huge thank you to those of you who have tuned in today, whether you've joined us here in the room or joined us online on Instagram. Remember to join us at the same time tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, to hear from candidates from the other student president roles and also the student parliament roles as well. Voting opens next week between Tuesday and runs through to Thursday, with the results of the elections being announced next week at 2 p.m. on Friday. Before then, you can read all of the candidates' manifestos, you can watch their campaign videos, and you can find out about why all the candidates think you should vote for them on the Students' Union website. Best of luck to all the candidates. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Goodbye.